If I told you a week ago that Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be a Juventus player, you would just laugh me out of the room.
I think we did.
It's an incredible story, isn't it?
I think we did, and I think most of us, to a man. All the guys that have been on the show, Steve McManaman, who was over as well, Robbo's been over, all the regulars, we all said, this is the Ronaldo story. No matter what Real Madrid were pushing, we hear it every year, sometimes twice a year. It's got to be about money. He wants a little bit more love. He's not in the World Cup now. And that's how it's been painted over the last few years. And generally, out at the end of it is a new contract and a bumper pay rise. And Ronaldo stays and everything's hushed for a while. But clearly that's not been the case. I don't know the exact reason why. But yeah, we all sort of scorned it. But fair play to Juventus. I'm not sure what it's costing them. But it must be a heck of a lot of money.
Well, it's a record transfer for Juventus, and I think when he's been linked to clubs in the past, you could understand PSG, China, Manchester United, maybe even MLS. Juventus was never on the radar whatsoever.
The Serie A is a league that hasn't been able to get the highest paid players and the best players in the world at the moment, but to get Ronaldo to go there, they're obviously finding money from somewhere. But I think what's surprising as well is that Real Madrid are quite happy for him to go. They haven't stood in his way. I mean, Ronaldo wanted to go, but they've not stood in his way. They've allowed the move to go ahead. And I think it's great for Serie A. It's great for Juventus as well.
Do you think they're the big winners out of all of this? Will Real Madrid regret this, or is it kind of everyone?
Well, from a football perspective, Juventus are going to be potentially a better side with him, and even at his age. I mean, financially, I can't answer that question. The big thing for Real Madrid now is we're probably going to, as soon as this World Cup's finished,
it's going to be who?
We're going to be on it. Is like what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Who's the Galactico? Is it one? Is it two? Is it Neymar? Is it Mbappe? Is Gareth? I mean, the other side of the coin as well now. It probably means Bale's not going to be going anywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's lots of different factors now that could feed in, but I didn't think it was going to happen.
There's even talk of Benzema going. There's talk of Bale going.
Yeah.
This is a totally rebuilding of Real Madrid under a new manager, Lopetegui.
The right thing to do, though, from Real Madrid's perspective?
I think they were the European champions, but I think they were just slightly on the way, and you saw that in La Liga. There were certain games in the Champions League, particularly when they were at home against Juventus, when they were struggling at one point. They were 3-0 up from the first leg and nearly lost that game. So there was signs that they were starting to get that little bit too old, and that's why I think Lopetegui and the president wants to change everything.
How's Ronaldo going to cope with Italian football overall? Because he's used to Real Madrid winning games easily against inferior opposition.
Well,
and obviously,
he's going to do that with Juventus. Juventus have won the title for 7 years.
But they don't win games by 4-5-0, do they?
Well, that's a mentality of the team that are winning, not the opposition.
Sure.
There's almost a rule in Serie A that once you go 4-0 up, you don't go and get 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
There's games that they're going to win quite comfortably. They're going to be challenged by Napoli. They might be challenged by Roma to a certain degree. Inter are still trying to get back up there, but they're going to win games quite comfortably. And I think he's going to get a lot of service. It all depends whether Douglas Costa is playing at his very best and gets crosses into the box. Cuadrado on the other side. Who's going to play up front with him? Higuain? Does that mean Higuain will be moving? Dybala? What's going to happen to those two players? So he's got to get the balance right, as Allegri. But when I look at Ronaldo now, he's a box player. He needs crosses coming in from wide areas. Douglas Costa, Cuadrado could certainly do that.
Probably Dybala that's going to play in that number. Well, somebody will need to play in that role.
Yeah.
Higuain's too slow, and Ronaldo's too old to have Higuain beside him. Personally, I think. So I think there'll be a reshape there. The other side is that it'll be interesting to see if he can replicate the goal scoring stats, because they're phenomenal.
Incredible.
Doing it in Italy, I think, will be difficult because they do think about defending a little bit more. Although that has changed in the last few years.
It's changed massively.
Italian football
is not like that anymore.
No, but they still have that mentality at times with the Italian defending. Although it has opened up, and Italian football took a look at itself a few years ago, and a lot of these teams you met, Napoli, Juve, Napoli, Roma, Lazio, all these teams. I know there's more. They play a more open, attractive football. It has been very pleasing to the eye. Italian football. The one criticism years ago was it was all a bit dull and boring. But the last few years, they've really had a few sides that have played some good stuff. So it'll be a little bit more open now for Ronaldo than it would have been, say, a decade ago. That being said, Juventus will look at his stats and go, "Wow, they're incredible." The big question is if they're getting enough, money for their buck, then he's going to have to replicate that.
But again, you're talking about Higuain. His stats for the last 3 years have been incredible as well.
Sure.
So there's a player, when he was at Napoli, he was scoring goals left, right and centre. He didn't do quite so well last season for Juventus. And Dybala's not somebody who's going to run beyond him. Dybala's a player that's going to play in behind him.
And play try and service him through.
Yeah, so you've got to get somebody that's going to run beyond him at times, and that I'm not quite sure who that will be.
I wonder, you know, and Max Allegri, the coach, I wonder what any statement from him, if indeed we get one. I wonder if this is something that he was happy about.
Yeah. Well, his statement isn't going to say I'm not happy, is it?
No, I know,
but
I don't want this.
Well, but what I'm saying is that this with the coach's blessing, or is this without? Because for him that could be a big concern. Because he's taken over from Conte. He has taken them forward. They keep winning the Scudettos. He's taken them to the Champions League finals, which Conte couldn't do. And he's done it with a little bit of guile, but a lot of team ethic. And they've changed a few things along the way. Changed the back three, gone to back four at times. He's made a lot of changes. He might have to make a heck of a lot more now that Ronnie's in.
Finally, will this be a success?
Yes, I think it will be. Maybe just for a year or two, but it'll be a success for Juventus, and I think it'll be a success for Serie A.
You agree?
Yeah, big news for Serie A, big plug for them. I think short term it will be, but it's a lot of buck to be spending for short term. If they can get it back through commercial viability, then fair enough. But I think for Italian football, fantastically exciting.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Of course, a lot more reaction to this big news here on ESPNFC.com throughout the day.